This is a movie review of Hell Hath No Fury, Fury. So this is spoiler alert. Don't watch this if you don't want to know about the movie. But if you want to know about the movie, then watch it. It it'll be kind of fun. I tried to take notes while I was watching this movie. Now it does have some bad cussing in it. It's not a lot of um, area that's covered. The movie's pretty much in the same location. Starts out in 1941, and there's a colonel with the SS, the German army, and a woman, Mary, and the colonel's name is Vaughn, and she's like a rebel, and this is all spoiler alerts. Now, Vaughn actually killed her parents; they were farmers in France, so she joins the resistance and she tries to infiltrate in the Germans and they have a resistance supposed to come and meet, but they end up meeting on the road. So they stop them. They throw a tree in the yard, well, in the road, and the driver gets out and they shoot him. Vaughn escapes to the woods, but he has a pistol that he can put a handle on, and he takes out all the resistance. And then all of a sudden, time lapse. 3 years go by, and a lot of the people didn't like the people who were sympathetic to the Germans, so they shaved their head off and put a swastika on their forehead, which is crazy. And somehow she convinced them that she was a sympathizer, so they released her out of prison. And they were fixing to tar and feather her because they thought she was a German sympathizer. So they released her just to see what she could do, and it's probably because Vaughn still loved her. So she ends up talking to some Americans, a major and three other soldiers, and they take her to this graveyard to try to see if they can get this gold that she supposedly said. So they were going to, probably not let her live afterwards, but they wanted this gold. And she thinks this gold is cursed. So she don't really care about money. She just cared about, getting revenge for her parents. So soldiers start digging up there's a guy named George who's a caretaker at the graveyard. So one of the soldiers takes him in a shack and puts him under a guard while there's the other three soldiers out there digging for the gold. So they dig up three graves, and then George's brother Clement, which has a crush on Marie, comes and kills one of the soldiers. So they're trying to figure out how to ambush the American soldiers to get, Marie safety. So they have a gunfight, and George ends up getting a grenade thrown at him by. So his name's Jerry. Jerry throws a grenade at George, and there's another soldier who's been wounded by Clement. So Jerry's, so Clement is in bad condition after the grenade hit him, but he still can fire a rifle. So the soldier that was wounded by his brother, he ends up shooting, and that takes out two of the American soldiers. Meanwhile, Clement gets in, the graves have like tunnels connecting them, a big old tunnel underground. So Clement climbs in the tunnel to escape the soldiers, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And then they're still digging up the graves. So, and then you see the troops are wanting to escape to Spain, and Vaughn is still alive. Earlier, before everything happened, there's a lot of flashbacks, and Marie shot Vaughn in the face. She thought she killed him, but she didn't kill him. So she finally shows the soldiers where the gold is, and then Clement comes out of the ground, and they have a shoot off, and they said, okay, let's partner up. We got a bunch of the Germans coming that are escaping, and they're coming down this road, and the major the American major, he ends up calling the strike force. If they don't hear from him by a certain time, they're going to bomb the whole graveyard just in case they get overrun. So they're having a fight. They prepare. You know, Clement, the like Clement's the resistance. So really, all these people should be friends, but they're fighting because of the gold bar. So Mary was part of resistance, even though she looked like she was a collaborator. You know, it's like it first happened in 1941, but this is 3 years later. So it's like 1944. It's probably at the end of the war. So they set up booby traps and put dynamite everywhere and bombs, grenades. And so then finally the soldiers come, and they had the graveyard guy, George. They set him up in the Jeep. So about 5 or 6 of the soldiers go to investigate, and they kind of laugh when the body just falls over. And then the guy looks under the Jeep and sees the dynamite. And he yells something in German, like, "Oh, poop," or something, but German. And then the guy blows him up. And it's not supposed to take out the Jeep. It's supposed to, just get the soldiers. Then they have a big old gunfight. Everybody's shooting everybody. And then Clement goes back in the tunnels again, and he's in the tunnel. And all these people shooting everybody. Vaughn, the German soldier, he's a lieutenant colonel. He shoots Marie in the leg and just kind of looks at her, walks off. And then Clement ends up coming out of the hole again, and he's been having these visions of his brother. His brother's dead, George. So George is trying to talk sense into him and saying, "Hey, you crazy, fall in love with this girl." And so he thinks he sees his brother for the second time, but it's Vaughn, and Vaughn shoots him. So nobody's able to get anybody except for Vaughn. But then there's one soldier who's really skillful, and Jerry is at the Jeep with all the ammunitions in it. So Soldier and Jerry fighting, and anything that Jerry does, he hits the guy, the soldier, the German soldier, but he's getting really beat up really bad, and he does something very graphic. Finally, Jerry gets a good advantage, and he bites the guy in the neck and kills him. But Jerry's in pretty bad shape. He's been stabbed multiple times. So then Vaughn just so happens to walk around the corner, and Jerry's in the same condition that George was, where he could only fire, a rifle, and that was it. It's on the verge of not being here no more. So then he fires like a stormtrooper, and all the bullets go all around Vaughn, and he just looks at him like, "I didn't even see you there." And then he shoots Jerry. So that's 2 of our 4 are gone now. It's just the major and Mary left, and then the major doesn't like it that he shot Jerry. So he shoots him, and he hits Vaughn in the arm. And Vaughn said, good, you did a good shot. Very skillful. So then they all stand up and say, "Hey, let's take the gold and we'll split it and let's make a deal." And they all have guns. Vaughn's holding a pistol this side, and the major has like a machine gun, and the lady, Marie, has a machine gun. And she says, "No more deals." And she turns and kills the major. He wasn't expecting that. And then she turns and shoots Vaughn. And Vaughn ends up shooting her in the arm. And she's like crying in pain. And, but Vaughn really loves her, even though she shot him now multiple times, left him for dead, and now he's probably going to die from his wounds this time. So, to get him in that open stance, the major told him, "Hey, I got an airstrike coming. It's fixing to drop bombs on this place. We need to, if they don't hear from me, they're going to do it." So, even though Marie kind of loved Vaughn. She kind of loved to take him out because he killed her parents. So here they are. They crawl over, hold hands, and the bombs start falling. And she just takes Vaughn and puts him over her to protect her from the bombs. So the whole cemetery's blown up, and finally she gets him off of her, and then she goes and buries the gold back in the um, grave, but it's one of those above graves where you slide the big old cement cover off. So she puts it back in there, and she closes it back and starts walking down the road, and is happy. She got revenge. Nobody got the gold, and the gold, it was obtained through bad things. People that were executed, the gold was took out of their mouths or off their body, and it was all melted in big old gold blocks. So she believes the gold is cursed, and all these other people just want the money for the gold. I get this light to work. So anyway, she's walking, and it has like a little paraphrase. She went to Paris, married an architect, had 3 children, and then she passed away at the last of last century, like 1996. So she lived a good life, had a happy life, and she never did go back to the cemetery to retrieve the gold. So it's a decent movie. It's probably about a 5.5 out of 10. But hell hath no fury, and kind of gives you a little bit like the war was, but it's kind of like they could have done this as a play on a film stage somewhere. It's very, except for all the dirt, and the scene wasn't too big, but it's a decent movie. I'd recommend it watching. If you like military movies, but it's real slow. Hope I didn't ruin it from the interview. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it.